Hey guys, I'm Ubiru and welcome back to World of Warships. So today I'll be looking at the Aurora, which is the Tier 3 Soviet Premium Cruiser. So the Aurora is very similar to the St. Louis, the Tier 3 American cruiser, in many respects. It does have a further range on guns, it has the same amount of main armament, it does however have no secondary armament, slightly worse manoeuvrability, same amount of armour, slightly less health, and the same concealment. So the first stat is survivability, and we have 26 out of 100, 22,500 health, which isn't an awful lot for a Tier 3 ship. The St. Louis, in comparison, has nearly 30,000, so you're at a disadvantage here. Currently, it doesn't show the armor because of the recent changes in 0.3.1, where armor stats have been removed for the moment. The second stat is artillery firepower, and this thing has 44 out of 100. It has 14 by 1 152mm guns, up to a maximum range of 11.2 kilometers. The artillery score is slightly worse than the St. Louis. The St. Louis artillery score is 50 out of 100, while this is only 44. That is primarily because the St. Louis has secondary armament, and this ship does not. The Aurora's guns go to a better maximum distance of 11.2 instead of the St. Louis's 10.4. This ship has a rate of fire of 7.0 rounds per minute, has good accuracy at only 99 meters dispersion. Shell damage is 2,200 with high explosive, and armor piercing is 2,700. So it's very similar to the St. Louis's guns. The main difference really is that these guns only have a maximum damage of 2,700 instead of the St. Louis's 3,000, and that these guns go to a further distance and have a slightly worse rate of fire. In terms of anti-air capability, this ship has 1 out of 100, which is terrible. It has a couple of 7.62mm guns, which won't shoot down anything in a hurry. This thing can get matchmaking with Tier 4s and above, so you can see planes, but you won't shoot out anything with the 1 score out of 100. The next stat is manoeuvrability, and this ship has 28 out of 100. It goes to a maximum speed of 20 knots, which isn't very fast, and a turning circle radius of 400 meters, which is quite quick, with a rudder shift time of 8.4 seconds. The concealment is 65, so you have a surface detectability range of 11 kilometers and air detectability range of 6.3 kilometers. So you can be quite stealthy in this thing, despite it being very big and having a very large amount of guns. So with all the premium ships in the game, this ship has no upgrades you can buy with experience, but it does have some credible upgrades. You have 2 here. The first one is the main battery modification 1, which is minus 20% chance of magazine detonation, and minus 20% chance of critical damage to main batteries, and minus 20% main battery repair time. With the amount of guns on this ship, you will need this mod to decrease the damage to guns. And the second upgrade I've chosen is the steering gear modification 2, which is minus 20% to steering gear repair time and minus 20% to chance of critical damage to steering gears. I've noticed a lot in this ship that when you get shot in the mid to the rear of the ship, your steering gear does get damaged, and of course you steer uncontrollably, so this mod is necessary in my opinion. So the Aurora is very similar in comparison to the St. Louis. It has the same amount of guns, slightly worse overall artillery firepower, has slightly worse health. It's probably like a slightly dumbed down version of the St. Louis with a further firing range. Okay, this is the Aurora on Big Race Standard Battle. So as you can see, we're a Tier 3 ship, and the matchmaking in this thing quite often becomes Tier 5 and even Tier 6 games, mostly because the closed beta hasn't got a very big population, so most people are playing the higher tier ships instead of the lower tier ships. So in this match, we have 2 aircraft carriers on our team and 2 aircraft carriers on the enemy team. Of course, in the Aurora, the anti-air capability is terrible at only Tier 3, and when you get shoved up to Tier 5 and 6 matchmaking, you can't really perform well against planes. This thing only has 1 out of 100 score of anti-air capability. So Big Race is one of the smaller maps in the game. It's very much for low-tier matches, usually from Tier 3 to Tier 6. I'm going to start by heading towards the middle of the map, try and hug these rocks and use my fairly good range on guns to put some holes into some enemy ships. So there's a Tenryu. Tenryu is very fast maneuverability. Not the best arm in the world, but with these guns you don't really expect to penetrate a lot at only Tier 3. These guns aren't a very big caliber. So this match does start off quite slow. Trying to get some shots into these guys behind these rocks. I'm playing very cautiously at the start, using my good range on guns at around 11 kilometers to try and put some holes into the Alpha, the Tenryu, etc. So the Aurora has pretty good firepower overall. It does have that slight decrease in maximum damage on its AP shells to the St. Louis, but it has a slightly further firing range and it has the same amount of guns. So at this range, 9.4 kilometers away from a destroyer, I'm going to do a couple of spread shots here. At this point, I don't realize what ammunition I'm firing. I should be firing high explosive against these small targets, but I will start using high explosive in a short while. So 8 kilometers away for a Gromyashki. The Gromyashki is one of the highest maneuvering destroyers in the game, and definitely one of the best premium ships available in the game so far. So firing a couple of shots at him, but we're so clustered up at the moment, me and my allies, and the Gromyashki's going too fast. He's popped his smoke. He's a pretty hard target to hit. So I'm doing some circle rotation here, just trying to work out which target's the best to fire at. The maneuverability of the Aurora is quite terrible. So with these low caliber guns, it reminds me a lot of the Tier 8 American cruiser, the Atlanta. The Atlanta has a very, very high firing arc on its guns, and it's the same here with the Aurora. When I say firing arc, I mean when you aim at the targets and you fire, you have to lead your shots more so, a lot more so than another gun of the similar caliber to get the guns to effectively hit the target. The Tenryu is 10.1 kilometers away, very easy to get a kill on the Tenryu if you hit the center of the ship. He's using his very good maneuverability to avoid my shots, and I'm doing a couple of spread shots here and there. Hit him there for nearly 900 damage, which isn't too bad. We have some torpedoes coming in for some reason. I don't know if it's allied or enemies at this point. And there they are. It is enemies, and here they come. We have spreads of torpedoes coming from almost all angles. That means it's probably from the Gromyashki, but they have gone out of range and they have missed. We hit him there again for 200 damage, not an awful lot, which leads me to believe that I probably should start using high explosive, but in this point in the replay, I haven't got around to doing that just yet. He's only 7.5 kilometers away. I know he has the massive advantage in terms of maneuverability. I can turn this thing around, but not very quickly. He, however, can avoid my shots, fire some shots, and just keep moving. I mean, I can't really do that in this ship, but in the matchmaking that I'm in, I'm at a big disadvantage just by going up against these bigger ships. So the Tenryu's got his guns facing elsewhere now. I think he's firing at the allied battleship. There's an enemy battleship on my right, which I need to take cover from, so I'm going straight towards the Tenryu here to take cover behind this rock on my right. If I take some hits from enemy battleships, I'm in serious trouble. The Aurora even struggles against the low-tier battleships, the Tier 3 Japanese and American battleships, because of how poor the armor is and overall survivability. So there's a battleship just over there, 9.6 kilometers away. Going to fire a couple of shots of armor piercing. Of course, with armor piercing, I would recommend firing at the bigger, heavier targets with armor piercing. There we are, 2,000 damage with just a couple of shots. Not too bad. Of course, the very good fire rate of these guns, you can fire over and over again. Just firing over and over again, hit him a couple of times there, but for no damage. Now there's a cruiser there, 6.5 kilometers away. He's facing pretty well from us. Going to emerge from this rock and hopefully fire a salvo. We are quite well covered from the enemy battleships. They're all behind the rock on the left. So firing a full salvo, in they go. Ah, we missed that one. 7.4 kilometers away. He's trying to avoid our shots. Now I've switched to high explosive. There's another cruiser there, which is very low, and a battleship. The battleship is a big, big threat, so I need to turn this thing around to avoid the battleship shots, turning very sharply right to avoid as best as I can. So the battleship is a massive threat at this point. Still going to fire high explosive. 2,900 damage, and we set him on fire. Now, when you set battleships on fire, because they have such a massive health pool, you can really farm a lot of damage by just doing fire damage alone. I'm not 100% sure why he turned straight for us. It could have been torpedoes, but he had a massive advantage. He could have fired a couple of salvos on us and would have easily have killed us. But here come the torpedoes, so he is trying to avoid them. Now he's turning again left and right very quickly, using his very good maneuverability to avoid those shots. I'm still firing him, but with these very low caliber guns, I'm doing very minimal damage, even with high explosives. So 300 damage there, 300 damage quite repetitively. He got hit by some torpedoes, firing again, and the Allied finished him off. So we got some fire damage there. We did manage to do quite a lot of damage with just fire alone. And now there's enemy ship 11 kilometers away, just sitting in the water, not really doing an awful lot, the Tenryu, and it hasn't got an awful lot of health. So I'm going to focus down the Tenryu. He is on fire. 3,600 health left. In they go. We got him for 1,400. We knocked out one of his guns. Second salvo going in. But you can see the very high firing arc of these shots. It takes a long time for the shots to hit the target. In they go again. Very minimal damage. Only 2 hits for practically no damage at all. We tried to get an arc over this rock. It can work to your advantage, the very high arc of these guns, but it didn't work out for me then. So the enemy Tenryu, who started attacking us at the beginning of the match, is now in front of us, only 6.8 kilometers away. Now he's firing some shots on us. He has the advantage in terms of better guns, better maneuverability, maybe about the same sort of armor. The armor on the Aurora is quite bad. Shots going in, 700 damage, high explosive again, and we finished him off. So that's one destroyed. We got 50 hits for quite a lot of damage, and we set like one target on fire earlier. He didn't repair, so we accumulated quite a lot of fire damage. So now I'm going to turn this thing around. There's an Alpha there with a battleship. I'm going to fire over this rock to try and get a good hit. 4.7 kilometers away, and they go. High explosive again, and we set him on fire. 1,400 damage, and followed by 2,900 damage. So not bad. The Iwaki Alpha doesn't have an awful lot of health, He has fired his torpedoes at an ally, 5.2 kilometers away now. Going to fire a couple more shots. It seems like he's turning left and right very randomly to try and avoid some incoming fire. We hit him there for 900. We didn't set him on fire again. I think he did repair, so now he's not on fire. There's a battleship here, 5.7 kilometers away, and he's a much bigger threat. But he has lots and lots of torpedoes hitting him now. Very low health now, and my allied finished him off. So now it's the Iwaki Alpha left, 5 kilometers away, trying to get some arcing shots over this rock. But unfortunately, the shots don't want to arc. So now he's very close distance. He did just take a hit from an ally, and there is 2 ships next to him, another cruiser and another battleship. They're both 7.5 kilometers away. So the next target is this one here, the cruiser at 7.7 kilometers. So the Tenryu seems to be turning around to get side on to me. He's only 3.5 kilometers away at this point. That leads me to believe that he has his torpedoes ready. So he's turning side on to me, firing some shots in, hitting for 1,400 damage, but I'm not sure if it's enough. He only has like a couple of health left, shots going in from allies, and he finished him off. So there's a battleship there at 7.7 kilometers away. The enemy battleship has his guns facing elsewhere, so I am, for the moment, safe. So I'm going to try and land some shots on this guy at only 7.7 kilometers away. Try and set him on fire before the end of the match. There's only 2 enemy ships remaining, so at this point we're winning by a very, very large margin. We hit him for 700 damage, but we didn't set him on fire. I believe the fire percentage chance on these guns isn't overly high, but I'm going to try it anyway. If you set a target on fire, then you can accumulate some serious damage. So him again, 300 damage, it's not an awful lot. Shots going in again, 300 damage, 700 damage, and there we set him on fire for 1,000 damage. So hopefully he doesn't repair. So firing a couple more shots into this New York, hopefully set him on fire again. But the problem here is now the Ubiru. The last enemy ship is 4.4 kilometers away, just on my left behind this rock. He's getting very close, and the Ubiru has a very good firepower and torpedoes. So 3.5 kilometers away, I have to get ready for this guy. High explosive loaded, gonna fire full salvo at this point. That's 8 guns, in they go. We knocked out his engine, 2,000 damage, we defended the base, 5 hits in total. At this point I'm waiting for all my guns to reload before I can fire again. In they go, full salvo, set him on fire, 1,000 damage. I'm a little concerned because his guns aren't facing towards us, they're facing elsewhere, so that must mean he's focusing his torpedoes on us. And there they are. He did seem like he fired them a bit too early, and I'm going to take cover behind this rock on my right to hopefully avoid them completely. We avoided those torpedoes very easily in the end there. In they go, set him on fire, 700 damage, knocked out his engine, 5 shots went in, 2.8 kilometers away now. He's very, very low. He's the last ship on the enemy team, shots going in, and we finished him off. So in that game we got 150,000 credits, 2,590 experience, 129 free experience. In terms of team experience we came third with 2 kills, 1,729 base experience, not far off the top, only around 50. And in terms of damage we got 3,700 with AP. With high explosive damage we got nearly 40,000 damage in a tier 3 ship. That's a massive amount, and with the targets we set on fire we did nearly 7,000 damage. So if you fire high explosive exclusively in this thing, and I've noticed in many ships in this game, you can accumulate a massive amount of damage. So in total we got 114 hits, we defended the base, we got 3 critical hits, 2 destroyed, and we set targets on fire 8 times. So it was a very good game in the Aurora. So this has been the Aurora, the tier 3 Soviet premium cruiser. So the Aurora is very similar to the St. Louis in many respects. I would say that it is slightly worse, but it is a premium ship, so of course it has more credits, more experience, you earn per battle. So this is a good ship to buy early on to accumulate more experience. So the Aurora costs 2,250 doubloons or gold. I would say it's quite a lot for a tier 3 ship, and I would recommend you save up and buy one of the higher tiered ships such as the Atlanta or the Murmansk. They're both fantastic ships. So the Aurora is a good ship. If you want to purchase it, it will be in the tech tree for 2,250 doubloons. So thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.